Let me finish my story about like when my friend came over with his actual, real, actual girlfriend that he called his girlfriend. I hate this, but he was a side piece and he was okay with being a side piece. I said, listen, you shouldn't be a side piece. Who's a side piece now? Who's a side piece now? I just. I just, though, because that gentleman that came over now with his twacked out girlfriend that was like fucking so obnoxious. I can't believe he did that. We don't have to speak that much, though. And that's the thing, though. Like the whole. Hadn't seen him in a year, the only conversation is there's the mat. It's rolled up on the radiator, and now you have to leave. That was it. After not seeing him for a year, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I would not know that she was like just fucking like on so many fucking drugs. Am I jealous? I'm concerned that she's like looks like she's gonna explode because she's on so many stimulants and fucking her kids are taken away and like she's fucking. That was a year or two ago. That was like way back in 2023. But it's just like it does hurt my feelings though when someone chooses that over like just like home here with me. Like, you know what I mean? Even if I'm not your girlfriend, I'm just your friend. Like I'm like I. But at that time though, you're a drug addict though, right? So she had a car and of course all the drugs in the world and like you're a side piece. So fucking, I mean that's what he wanted and I'm used to that. That's where like the fucking the Indeed thing comes in, where it's like Laura always takes the hit. Laura always takes the hit, and it's like you just want to say like or like if somebody says no, like they always say no to me because like they don't know how to say no to other people. He doesn't know how to say no to that, but he can say no to me like every single time I ask him. Unless if I say like you want a protein shake, then I always get a yes. And I always get a thank you because protein shakes make you feel well, right? But anyway, I was so upset that day, and that was the only day that I missed at work working for this elderly lady that I called into work, and I called in 2 times before because I was just like shaking. I was so angry because this is somebody that I love, and I didn't know it was that bad because like the last time that I saw him or whatever, it was right after like we got busted or whatever, but like we were actually like I was actually sober for a few months, I would say, and I said, like, maybe like the key to us being together is, well, I quit drinking because you suggested it because you don't like your mom being drunk. She's like really, she kind of like, isn't appropriate and like you don't like it. And you mentioned, she's like, well, I'm like, what was it? He's like, well, I don't date girls. I don't like it if girls drink. And now the girls he's around are like fucking, they're on so many pills and like, every single day is just like fucking all these fucking pharmaceuticals and I'm sure they drink, but it's just like, but with me though, I'm like, okay, well then, if that's a thing, I will stop drinking today after like 30 years of drinking. And I did. And then like I thought, you know what? And I didn't do meth as much as the other people do. And this is another thing too. Like he'd feed like drugs to these other people, but like with me, he would always be like, "I think you've had enough." And I'm like, "I had one hit of weed." And he's like, "I think you've had enough." Or like, like I don't like to see you high. Like these other people, like you just like get them like really really high. I mean, even he might like scale it back with them too, but with me especially, he's just like there's just something about me. He's just like I really don't want to see you like fucked up. So I mean, he would control that, and it pissed me off because I'm like, it was his way of saying I love you without saying I love you, even though it pissed me off. I'm like, okay, well with the weed though, if he ever gave me weed, I'm like, I can have like a few more hits of weed, like right? It's like, well, I just don't like seeing you high like that. So since he was always fucking withholding the shit from me anyway and not letting me get as high as I wanted to, I'm like, okay, I'll raise you this. I just won't do drugs anymore. How about that? Maybe that's the key to you being with me. Maybe I should stop doing meth because all the other fucking girls, all they do is meth. And I knew he was dealing coke and that they did coke all day long, like when they weren't here with me. So I'm like, well, since I already don't do cocaine, because like you don't fucking bring it to me because like that's expensive, and honestly, I don't need anything but your presence because I love you. How about this? You're in so much fucking control. Well, guess what? I'll just stop doing it altogether. How about that? That's how much I love you. That's how much I love me. So now who's in control? And that's not even a thing with me. But it's just like it's so annoying. Like you won't even let me get high, kind of. Like it's just like I really don't like seeing you like fucked up. Which basically translates to snoo snoo. Terrifying, right? Well, how come none of these bitches ever did that for me? How come none of these bitches ever did that for me? They had more greed than love for you. That's why. They had more greed than love for themselves. And that's where he's at right now, too. But I was so upset. I called her like at 9 in the morning or something, and I said, I can't come in like right now. Give me an extra hour or two, and I'll come in and I'll clean. She's like, oh, okay. And then I was still like, I was just like, first of all, my pot was like so fucking light, right? I was like, so fucking upset. I can't believe they fucking did that. She was so fucked up. Who checks you, though? And then you want to smoke the rest of my weed? I'm shaking right now. But I was so upset. So I called again. I said, well, give me another 2 hours. And then I finally called again, maybe at noon. And I said, listen, I can't come in today. I will come in next week, same time, you know. So I came in the next week. And she was like really upset. She comes in there with a scrub brush. And she's like, really upset. I'm like, oh, hello, you know, like I'm ready to like clean everything. And she's like, I have a scrub brush here. She's like, you're going to go in every corner and you're going to scrub the corners of every corner in my house. And I'm like really distraught. And I kind of like, it took me like a year to get over actually like how upset I was when he brought that girl over here. And like, I just take it personally that someone like would choose that over just like being home with like a friend that like actually loves you and like cares about you. It has nothing to do with sex because like we didn't have sex for like spirit like maybe a couple times in the whole 6 years I've known this individual. It was just like it was a relationship that was based on love. It was a friendship that was love, and I'm like, but at that time it had to be the drugs, and also she had a car. Like the prerequisite for my friend like having a girlfriend that with a title of actual girlfriend is they have to have a car that you can borrow, which is why I was never his girlfriend. So she's like, here's a scrub brush. Get in every corner and you scrub every single corner of my house today. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not used to scrubbing corners probably like you have because you have more experience than I do. How would you get like the grime out of this corner? Like, should I put like baking soda and like, you know, dish soap on this and try to get that little corner? I'm like, when you're doing the floors, like you could do the floors because you're not that disabled. Honestly, it'd be physical therapy for you. When you do the floors, how would you get that grime out of the corner, man? And she's like, oh yes, you know, honestly, like I would take some Dawn dish soap and like a little baking soda, and like I would definitely like I would yeah, and I would scrub that corner. And I'm like, you got any baking soda? She's like, sure. And then I worked for her for I think 4 or 5 more months, and I said, I gotta go.